Hello, I'm Charles Coves, Australasia's passion provocateur. Welcome to this week's episode of the Charles Coves Show, whether you're watching on Rumble or on YouTube or listening via one of the many podcast channels. I will discuss current issues that are exercising my mind and then share with you how the self-awareness and passion principles that lie behind my work can help you to elegantly handle such issues and other issues in your life. Remember my definition of passion. It's a source of unlimited energy from your soul, your spirit, your heart that enables you to achieve extraordinary results. When you are passionate, your ability to add more value to everyone around you increases dramatically. The rewards that you get in your life increase accordingly. The value we add has a massive impact on how life treats us. The show notes give you links to the foundational principles of this show and also details about my background. And the links in the show notes take you to our two websites, coves.com and charlescoves.com, where you can find out about our team building programs, leadership programs, and also the self-awareness and passion quest, which is a one-on-one executive coaching program for C-suite executives. Please subscribe to the show. It won't cost you anything except the risk of greater passion, greater awareness, and a greater enjoyment of your life. So let's go with this week's topic, which revolves around perfection. And this episode is inspired by the activities of President Donald Trump and Trump Derangement Syndrome, TDS. I'm a supporter of what Trump is doing. In fact, I'm a strong supporter. I'm a passionate supporter of what he's doing. I'm so impressed by his shutting of the borders to illegal immigrants. I'm so impressed by his desire to get rid of waste and fraud and corruption. I'm impressed by his desire to hold judges to account, to comply with the law. I'm less impressed by certain other things that he does. I certainly wasn't impressed by the total lack of cognitive abilities of Joe Biden, and Kamala Harris, in my opinion, is a joke. So Biden was clearly managed by the Democratic team. Kamala Harris would have just been a puppet with faceless men, who don't even stand up there like the heads of departments and run a country. So Trump, in my opinion, is doing some wonderful things. However, many people in Australia that I speak to, and in the meetings that I run, 3 meetings every week, global meetings, people say, I hate Trump, or what a shocking disaster he is. And I ask why. And even Friday night, Julie and I went to a function and I met a guy who is a highly qualified professional. And I told him I'm a Trump fan. And he says, oh, well, we have to stop talking then. I said, oh, really? I said, what don't you like about Trump? I don't like his morals and I don't like his ethics. Just think about that. So this judgment of Trump by this highly intelligent man because he doesn't like his morals or his ethics. I talked to my other friends with whom I exercise in various different groups. What don't you like? Oh, he's a buffhead. Oh, he tells lies. Lies. I mean, tell me a politician who doesn't tell lies. He rips people off. He tells lies in his finances. He's a womanizer. Blah, blah, blah. Well, I want to suggest to you that looking for perfect people is going to lead you to great disappointment, and indeed the desire to find perfect people, including perfect politicians. I hope you are noting the alliteration here with the heading, the crazy desire for perfect politicians, partners, which means lovers, professionals, personnel, and priests, is literally crazy. And it was my friend Jerry Brady who taught me this wonderful quote: the desire for utopia is insanity. Stop wanting life to be perfect. If life was perfect, you would have no problems to solve. And you've heard me talk many times about Buckminster Fuller, the genius who was awarded 47 honorary doctorates, he said that the purpose of people on this planet is to solve problems. If there were no problems, we wouldn't be needed. It's an interesting perspective. If you didn't have problems, if you were sitting back totally cared for, you would die of boredom. And indeed, I say to people who have literally retired, and my definition of retirement is when you cease to make a meaningful contribution. I say that dementia, Alzheimer's, as you know, I have lots of expertise in the health space. I say that Alzheimer's dementia closely related to not keeping your mind engaged in the game of life and solving problems. So let go of this desire for utopia. Let go of this thinking that life should be perfect. And if it's not perfect, then there's clearly something wrong. And then you walk around all depressed and upset. So let me unpack, ways that you might consider this desire for perfection in politicians. Well, in Australia, I'm desperately disappointed with the re-election of Anthony Albanese. He is a long-standing communist. Trevor Loudon's book I've talked about. Albo has been, his mentors for the last 40 years have been deeply committed communists. I don't trust anything that Anthony Albanese wants to do for this country. I'm desperately disappointed. So he's certainly not perfect. So partners, we live in the age of Tinder. I'm told I've never had to use Tinder. I've got the perfect wife in Julie. So this desire, if you fall in love with somebody and then they do something that you don't like, you dump them, because on Tinder there's an endless supply of new choices. And then what happens is you're never happy because you're looking for this perfect lover, this perfect partner. Not available, sorry. The next one is professionals, lawyers, accountants, engineers, doctors, surgeons. They're not perfect either. We all make mistakes. We all fail. What about personnel, team members? What do you do with team members that you have who are not perfect? Or if you're a boss, if you're looking for the perfect personnel, you will be in a state of relentless disappointment. Lastly, priests. And I raise priests because, in Australia, there were complaints made about priests and clergy from all different religions who were sexually abusing children. And then what was happening is that these complaints were not being acted on. Now, I think that's a horrific thing, and it should have been acted on quickly. 20 plus years of lobbying of these against these, about the bad behavior of these clergy. And, then you look at these clergy, and whilst it's bad what they do, what we tend to do is to forget all of the good that they do. So I'm urging you to come to this space of how you judge others and come back and look at yourself. This is the self-awareness exercise. What do you think of yourself? You know that you are not perfect. You don't know anybody who is perfect. You also know, as I do, how little each one of us knows, tiny amount of all there is to know. And so we then dare to impose a desire of, I don't want a politician like Trump who's not going to behave precisely how I want him to behave. And then you've got this problem of democracy, because all of us would like people to behave in slightly different ways. You start to go, well, if a politician says, well, I want to behave to satisfy Julie and then Charles and then you, dear reader, dear listener, dear viewer, he goes, well, I can't behave in that way, so I've got to be me, which is what this show is about, unleashing the true you. And stop trying to pretend that you are perfect. And here's my promise to you, that when you stop expecting perfection of others, you will liberate yourself from the pressure to be perfect, from the pressure to always look good. So where I'm heading with this is let go of this this craziness. Start looking at how you assess the people whom you vote for, the people that you deal with, the lovers that you have, the partners that you have, the professionals. It leads to this space of forgiveness, that if you're not expecting perfection, then you will forgive people. You won't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You won't throw out a wonderful relationship because on Tinder you've got another million that you can find. And you will take the pressure off yourself to be perfect. It ties in, to a biblical principle. Stop judging others lest you be judged. Now, the last thing I want to share, it's not a particularly long program here, but it's an important principle, and your awareness around it can liberate you so that you can live life on your terms and not worry that other people judge you as not being perfect. So I thought I'd throw in a spot of humour, and I wrote a limerick that I thought would reinforce this message of letting go of your desire for utopia. And I love limericks. There once was a search far and wide for a leader with nothing to hide, but flaws came to light, as they always just might. Perfection's a myth, not a guide. We seek faultless lovers and peers, with no baggage, no quirks, and no fears. But each soul's a mix of strengths, flaws, and tricks. So let's laugh and be kind through the years. And that word, be kind, think about that. How kind are you? I finish my emails with kind and passionate regards. Kind regards. Be kind. Are you being kind in your dealings with other human beings? It's a pretty powerful idea. And it starts by being kind to yourself. You can impose high standards on yourself, but be kind to yourself at the same time. So, I hope today's show makes a beneficial difference to your life. A life that I believe is meant to be all that you are capable of making of it, regardless of your imperfections. If you're new to the show, check the links to the website, subscribe to the show, share the show with your friends, and help them to stop judging you too harshly on a test of perfection. And again, thanks for watching or listening, and until our next show, may your week be full of challenge, of fun, of work that nourishes you, of a journey that fulfills you and increases your self-awareness of who you are and what you're meant to be doing. Have a great week. See you next week. Bye.